This is Paul Schneiderman today on the 86th edition of Sports and Stuff on Rainier Avenue Radio. Today, as my special guest, I have basketball legend Kenny Anderson. I want to recognize my engineer today, Lucius Tenebris. Rainier Avenue Radio has a lot of programming going on at the station, sports, and all sorts of other shows. My show's been around now since 2017. Kenny, let me give you a little introduction. Kenny Anderson is a legendary basketball player. He was a number 2 pick in the 1991 NBA draft, New York City basketball legend, former NBA All-Star. Kenny's currently coaching at Fisk University in Tennessee. There's a documentary about Kenny's life that came out, I believe, in 2017, Mr. Chibs. We're going to have a great conversation today. Kenny, I appreciate you coming on Sports and Stuff on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I really appreciate you doing this, Kenny. Kenny, you've been interviewed so many times. So many different people have asked you questions about stuff. So I'm going to try to ask you some different types of questions at times. Some of the questions you've probably heard before, but let me try to mix it up and try to learn some maybe get into some questions that haven't been asked before. Hey, Kenny, I know you had a stroke in 2019. How you feeling these days?
I'm feeling well right now. Vanderbilt. I go to the hospital like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and just for my memory. I lost a little bit of my memory, so thank God. Thank God.
But you're going through some rehabilitation and making some improvements then.
Yeah, making some great improvement. I just now I have to have everything written down and in front of me, so I can remember. So it's been fine.
Well, so glad you're feeling better and a young guy to have a stroke, but it sounds like you're making a lot of strides. Kenny, you grew up in New York City, and I'll tell you, I mentioned a story to you off the air, but I remember when I was a kid growing up in North Seattle, and I was always been a basketball fan. I was at home reading the Parade magazine list of high school All-Americans in basketball, and there was a sophomore by the name of Kenny Anderson from New York City, and I said to myself, I got to watch this guy, Kenny Anderson. I can't believe it. He's a young guy on this list, all these juniors and seniors. And let me ask you something, Kenny. You were at the top as a young basketball player. And while it's great to be at the top, people are also trying to bring people down when they're at the top. How did this early stardom affect your life, Kenny?
My early stardom, it helped me a great deal. I went to Archbishop Moore High School in Queens, New York. Played for the legendary coach Jack Karen. He was just an awesome coach. And my mentor helped me a great deal, Vincent Smith, the older brother of Kenny Smith, who played in the league and went to UNC. So Pierre Turner, who's also a lawyer. And those guys, really looked out for me and really raised me the right way. And so I was just blessed, man. I was blessed to have everything that I needed. And I wanted to just play basketball and just to do well in life, to take care of my mother. I really had dreams to buy my mother a big house and nice car, and and I was able to do that, with the goal in mind of just working hard on my basketball game and working hard in the classroom, which I did at Archbishop Moore High School.
So the early stardom, you think that you get long-term it helped you, being like, because there's some athletes that start off as kind of strappy players that weren't really at the top, and they get to the top. But you feel being at the top as a young kid.
No, I was young. I was young, and it all happened for me early. 14 years old, 14, I was the best in New York City, and for 4 years I was the best. So it was just an awesome feeling. And I won the MVP in the city championship at 15 years old. In ninth grade, I played on the varsity team. I was the only guy that played on the varsity for 4 years at my high school. It just was, it was fun for me, man. It was fun for me growing up in New York City and playing for Archbishop Moore High School. And it just was great, man.
Yeah, it's an incredible story. Your talents as a young player. Paul Schneiderman, host of Sports and Stuff on Rainier Avenue Radio with basketball legend Kenny Anderson. Hey, Kenny, you mentioned growing up in New York City, and I believe you grew up in a pretty tough environment in New York City. Do you think your basketball career could have gone in some different directions if you didn't grow up in New York, if you grew up in, say, the Midwest or Deep South, whatever? Do you ever think about that, about what effect New York growing up in New York?
I really never thought about it. I just, I know New York is the Mecca of basketball, and all the great point guards, that I looked up to, before me, Kenny Smith, Rod Strickland, Mark Jackson, Pearl Washington, Kenny Hutchinson, Kenny Patterson. These are guys before me that they had just hell of a careers, playing the game of basketball. And I always wanted to be like them guys, and I was able to. So, I just thank God for my blessings.
Those are big names you mentioned, of some of the aforementioned players. Great players you mentioned. Kenny, you played at Georgia Tech for 2 years, and you left early to enter the NBA draft in 1991. As I mentioned in the introduction, you were the second pick in the draft. Do you ever wonder, Kenny, if you would have benefited more long-term at all if you stayed in college and played at least one more year at Georgia Tech? Or do you look back and think your decision to leave after 2 years made complete sense?
Yeah, it made complete sense. I wanted to stay at Georgia Tech because I was loving school. I was loving Georgia Tech, loving Atlanta, but everybody, my mentors and everything, saying I should go because I would be high in the draft. I would go 1, 2, or 3, in the draft. So I had to go ahead and make that jump to the NBA, and I went number 2 to New Jersey Nets, and it was a blessing.
Yeah, looking back, you feel it made sense. Because some players look back and feel they should have stayed another year or two, but it's interesting to hear your perspective, Kenny, on that, on your decision to leave early. By the way, do you have any opinions on the one-and-done rule right now? And I know you're coaching at Fisk University as well. Any opinions on the one-and-done rule the NCAA has?
Yeah, I had. So if you, one and done, just go pro. Don't go to college. Just go pro. I don't, necessarily agree with the one and done rule. If you're that good, why even go college? Go straight to the pros. That's how I see it.
Kenny, you bring up a point there. You're right. A player just has to wait 1 year after high school. So I guess he could go pro like in Europe, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's kind of now. Are you doing schoolwork in college? If you want it done, are you learning anything? About schoolwork, about this is just to get ready for the pros. That's just, and I don't buy it. Just go, if you're that good, go straight to the NBA.
Go practice your trade. I got you.
Yes, go practice your trade. Yep.
And you went back and got a college degree in 2010, which is impressive.
Yeah. I had to go back to, get my degree. I wanted to go back. I went to St. Thomas University in Miami. I wanted to go back, but I also wanted to coach on a college level, so I had to go back and get my degree. So I went and got my degree at St. Thomas. It was just it was a great moment. 2010, it was a great moment. I wish my mother was there to see it, to see me graduate and everything. And it was an awesome time for me, and it was great.
Well, Kenny, your mom would be very, very proud. So it's no doubt about it. Kenny,
I know she'd be proud of me. Excuse me. I know she'd be proud of me because I'm helping these young men, and that's why I chose to coach on the college level, the NAIA level, small school, private level school, Fisk University. This is I got it from my high school coach, Jack Curran, and my mother always wanted me to give back. And this is the way I can give back, to help these young men. If they want to go pro, they want to go overseas, they want to get a good education, I can drive that in them, with
you're enjoying coaching at Fisk a lot, Kenny.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love coaching these young men, and
Are most of the young men on your team, are they from the South or from all over the country?
Yeah, they're from Memphis. They're from Memphis, Mississippi, mainly from the South. So, yeah.
And you enjoy coaching at a historically black college, university?
Yeah, I definitely love it. I definitely love it here. I got to build it. I got to build it. And that's what one of the things that I'm trying to do here at Fish University is just build a program. I've been here for 3 years now. We're not going to have the season this year, with the COVID issue and the problems that, everybody in the world is going through. So I understand that, and it gave me some time to think and, just get all of this together, Well,
it seems like you're playing a big role, Kenny, in building up the basketball program at Fisk. So it must be fun to kind of really build something up.
Yeah, yes, that's the main thing, and that's what I love to do. If I could build this program up, it'd be awesome, man. And I know I will. In time, I will.
Love it. Well, I'm going to keep following what you're doing at Fisk University. Paul Schneiderman again on Sports and Stuff with legendary basketball player Kenny Anderson. Kenny, I know you went through some financial challenges like many people have. Let me ask you a question, Kenny. Do you think there's more the NBA and the Players Association can do to protect players financially? Like, would you support some kind of rule the players must limit their spending money or something? Do you have any thoughts on the NBA Players Association?
The NBA, the Players Association, the Players Association, they're doing a great job. But I don't think when you grown and when you get to 20, 23, 24, 20, that's your life. You live it the way you want to live it. But you should be more wise on your spending habits and your money situation. But I think they're doing a great job now. There's a lot more money when you make it to the NBA, and it's a lot more money. Than when I played in the NBA. So definitely you have that the NBA and NBA what you know what I'm saying
The Players Association?
Yeah, excuse me, because that's what happens in my stroke. If I don't write all this stuff down that I'm talking about, I will just forget it.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, I'm doing a pretty good job. So the NBA Players Association is they're doing a great job helping, some of these young players, with their money, and that's awesome.
But you don't think they should regulate how players spend and things. You wouldn't go that far.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I think it's you have to live and learn, and I lived and learned, through all of it, my ups and downs, and it's been great for me. It's been great for me. I don't know how many young men could say it.
Right. Right. Well, interesting to hear your perspective on the whole financial management issues of players.
Yeah.
Kenny, I've asked this question to all sorts of guests. You may hear this question and go, really? But let me ask you this question too. And here's a couple of the answers I've gotten. I've gotten Sandy Koufax. I've gotten Tiger Woods. I've gotten Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Gotten Russell Wilson. Gotten the name Mike Tyson. Kenny, you know a lot of athletes, and you're a big-time athlete yourself. If you could interview one living athlete or general manager or owner, have an extended conversation with any living sports figure, who would it be?
Joe Montana. I'm a big fan of his. I'm a Joe Montana fan. I've always been. But, Joe Montana, I would like to interview him. I'm a Cowboys fan, but when he was with the 49ers, I really cheered for him to win, and he won 4 Super Bowls. He was awesome.
I love that answer, Kenny. I hadn't had any of my guests answer Joe Montana yet, so I will add that famous quarterback to my list. He would just be a fun guy for you to chat with.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I just want to just chat with him about just everything in life.
Love it. Great answer. Yeah, I'm getting all these different guests are giving me all these different names, and it's been a lot of fun when I hear a guest answer that question. Kenny, there was I believe 2017 documentary about your life, Mr. Chibbs, and it's a fascinating story about a lot of the obstacles you've gone through and everything. What was the main message that you see in that documentary about you and your life?
Just growing up, when you're young, you don't have anything. Certain things you go for in life. And I just wanted to take care of my mother. I just wanted to give her a nice home and, I wanted her to do everything in life that she wanted to do. But you also have to understand, you're playing basketball, you're making a lot of money, and that's for yourself. And that's what I realizing now. Like, oh, I got to take care of myself better now. And it was always taking care of others. That's the main thing that I focused on back then. I just wanted to make it so I can take care of my mentor, Vincent Smith, Pierre Turner, all the guys, and then my mother, things, my family, and I wasn't worried about myself, and that affected me, somewhat in my life.
Well, your documentary has received a lot of great reviews. I recommend my listeners watch Mr. Shibbs. And Kenny, did you come up with the line that basketball is easy, life is hard?
Yeah. Yep. I came up with it, and Jill Campbell, my director, she did a hell of a job producing my documentary, and that's what it basically is. My life with basketball has been so it's crazy. I look back on it now. It's been so easy for me. Basketball, but life in general has been difficult, and right now I'm doing well. I'm doing well in my life, and I just got to keep it up.
Well, I think it's amazing a lot of challenges and obstacles you've had, and how you're coaching now, and it's really a great story about a man who's had some challenges and is doing well. Paul Schneiderman again, hosting sports and stuff on Rainier Avenue Radio with the great Kenny Anderson. Kenny, let me ask you something about like high school and little league sports. And like it's interesting because so many different professions get trained. Like hairstylists get trained, there's training for car mechanics. But when it comes to like coaches, like little league coaches, high school coaches, there's usually no formal training. Would you like to see coaches at the little league level and junior high and high school levels go through like a certification process before they can coach?
Yeah, I believe you should have that, coaching, certification, because there's a lot of coaches out here that's just doing it, doing coaching for the wrong reasons, and they're getting they're assaulting with the mouth and everything, even with the hands, some of these young players, and I don't think those kids should be into that, about coaching and getting on them like that. I think you should have a certification if you're getting into coaching.
Right. I was never
a lot of them. The AAU coaches are right now is really going forward with that is just a little bit crazy to me. How they coach their young players, young men.
You like to see a little bit more of a certification and training. That's an interesting opinion.
Yes.
Kenny, I was never the athlete you were growing up, but when I was coach, when I had dealt with coaches at the K through 12 level, it was like the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I mean? There were some really good ones, some okay ones, some really bad. But I hear your point, though, Kenny. There's just certain coaches should not be dealt with kids.
There you go. You hit it right on the nose.
Thanks, Kenny. Hey, Kenny, I want to ask you, you played for 9 different NBA franchises, and who else do you think is an underrated NBA player, someone you played with or against that never really got the attention, but you think he's just a great player? Can you mention an underrated player that you played with?
Wow. Just off the top of my head, I played for the New Jersey Nets, a rookie, my rookie season and everything. So I would say Chris Morris. He went to Auburn University. He was a great, 2-3. Then he played for Utah, where he had some of his great games at, great times at. I say Chris Morris. He was a great forward.
He never got as much media.
I really believe that.
Chris Morris, I like that name.
Chris Morris and Dana Barros. I played for the Celtics. He made the All-Star team with Philadelphia. He was a great shooter. He went to Boston College. Dana Barros was great. I'm just going down some of my teams I played. J.R. Ryder, Rasheed Wallace, I played with. They were great players. Those are great players. So, I played with great players in the NBA. I played with Larry Johnson, Dale Carey. I played, up in Seattle for a cup of coffee in Seattle. I played with Gary Payton. He was a great guard. I played with, who else? I played with Derek Coleman, Jordan Pejovic. That's how I started my career with, and they were just awesome players.
Jordan was no doubt the best guy you played against. Michael Jordan, no doubt the best.
Oh, Jordan, I played in the era of all of those great ones. Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. I played against all of those guys, but I'm going with Jordan. Jordan was the greatest.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. There's a big debate between LeBron and Jordan, but you go Jordan, Kenny.
Yeah, I'll go Jordan.
Yeah. So fun to hear a lot of those players you mentioned. I used to watch Dana Barros when he played in Seattle. You're right. He had a great shot when he played. That guy could play. Yeah, he had a good shot. Hey, Kenny, you played for, like I said, 9 different franchises. Yeah. What was your favorite year in the NBA? What was the favorite? So my favorite game, my favorite years.
I say years would definitely. There's 3 teams that I give a lot of credit to in my career: New Jersey Nets, Portland Trail Blazers, and Boston Celtics. Those are the 13. I played 13 years combined with those 3 teams, and those when I played on a high level, I played 30-something minutes a game. For all 3 of those teams. So. And then we played in the Eastern Conference Finals against the New Jersey Nets. What was it? 2003. The Celtics versus the Nets. So I had a great time with those 3 teams. All the other teams is, it was all good. I played for Seattle, the Clippers, the Atlanta Hawks. Not long. Those are not long teams. I didn't play for those teams long, but I was coached by a lot of great coaches.
Like you said, you got a cup of coffee with a bunch of teams.
So. Yeah, I got a cup of coffee. But with a bunch of teams, I got a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's great. Paul Schneiderman, host of Sports and Stuff on Rainier Avenue Radio with the great Kenny Anderson. Kenny, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you had to pick one, you played for 9 franchises. If you had to pick one franchise you identify with the most, would it be the Nets, Blazers, Celtics, or another franchise? Which one?
I would have, it's tough because, but I was an all-star with the New Jersey Nets. So I got to give a lot of credit to the New Jersey Nets. But Boston and Portland was my 3 teams that I truly love.
Portland's a nice Northwest city, isn't it?
Yeah, I love Portland. I love New Jersey, and I love Boston Celtics. I played for some great organizations.
Oh yeah, no, I had fun watching you. Hey Kenny, I want to, this is a Seattle-based show. We're on the World Wide Web, but we're a Seattle-based show, and I watched you when you played with the Sonics back in 2002-2003 season. You played for part of the year with the Sonics that year, and we talked about this off the air, Kenny, for a couple minutes, but. I'm a casual fan. I don't claim to be an X's and O's genius with basketball, but it struck me it would have been pretty interesting if the Sonics could have figured out a way to have you in the same rotation with Gary Payton, have like a double point guard combination. Was there talk about making that happen? Tell us more about that with you playing with Gary.
No. It wasn't going to make that happen because the era of where we play. But now I could see, you playing a little smaller lineup and things of that nature. But Gary Payton, he had a great career, him and Sean Kemp up there in Seattle, and he's a Hall of Famer, and Nate McMillan was our coach. So he coached Gary Payton, and he played with them. So it was just a tough situation to be in. But I should have, because the second I got traded, but when we played together, the second half of that season, I started playing pretty well. I pretty enjoyed it, But that was his team, That's where he came from and everything for so many years, and Coach Nate McMillan did a great job. Now he's coaching in a year. He coached for the Indiana Pacers for so many years, did a great job, and now he's with the Hawks. So those are great guys. So I really didn't have nothing negative to say. It was just I was really hurt when Boston made that trade. That was it. I was hurt when Boston made the trade.
Gary Payton's a fun guy, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely a fun guy. Somebody you got to get to know. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I met Gary a couple of times. He's very personable. Ken,
Yeah.
I remember, and let me know if my memory's off, but I remember when you got traded by the Sonics to New Orleans, you were happy being traded by the Sonics to New Orleans. Do I have an accurate memory of that?
Somewhat, yeah, somewhat, because it was. I started playing well with Seattle, and I was like, sometimes you open your mouth too soon,
Yeah.
I started playing well, and then boom, I got traded to New Orleans. They needed me. When we made the playoffs, we lost to the Sixers, but in game 4 or 5, if I remember. But I played for Paul Silas, who was a great coach. It just wasn't me, up in Seattle. It was just a strange situation to be there.
Looking back, Kenny, you wish you had maybe a couple more years up in Seattle playing?
No, I don't look back. I kind of just look at my whole NBA career, and I just thank God that I was able to play for long as I did, 14 years. It just was a blessing. I played on every level, high school, college, pro. Like basketball has been easy. Life has been difficult. That's the Mr. Chibbs doc. If you haven't seen it, go out, get it, rent it, and it's a great documentary on my life.
Yeah, it's so neat that there's that documentary about your life, Kenny. Paul Schneiderman again on sports and stuff on Rainier Ave Radio with the great Kenny Anderson. So yeah, I was a big Sonics fan, so I wanted to see you play a little longer. But I hear you're coming from. You can't look back now. You got to kind of move forward as well. So, hey, Kenny, I recently got connected with you on Twitter, and Sonics fans loved it because you came out in favor of bringing the NBA back. You had a tweet on that. It was really neat to see support the cause. Let me ask you a question, Kenny. You know the business side of basketball. Yeah. Do you think it's really going to take $2.5 billion as an expansion fee to get the NBA back in Seattle? Do you buy that number?
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but I do buy it. You know what I mean? But Seattle is just an awesome place, man. It's an awesome place. They got a Seattle, the Seahawks football. They got to have a basketball team with the Sonics being there, was once there. They got the women's NBAs there. It's just a shame that they don't have the NBA there. They got all these different colleges around. It's great basketball, football. It's just, you got to have basketball there for what I'm saying, It's just, I don't understand it. I really don't. So hopefully they'll bring basketball back in Seattle. It'd be awesome.
Well, love your support of the cause. It looks like it will hopefully happen this decade.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree with you more, Kenny. Seattle's a wet northern city. And there's really a basketball culture in Seattle. Part of it has to do with the weather a little bit. People are inside a lot too. So, but I'm with you. 41 years of history, and it really is a good NBA city, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. I loved it. When I played up in Portland. And then I played for Seattle. It was just a great town. It was just great, man.
Kenny, you played under Howard Schultz. He was your owner when you played for the Sonics. And there's been a lot of criticism about Howard Schultz, the way he managed the team and the way he sold the team and all that. Do you have any thoughts on Howard Schultz as an owner about what you see that may have gone wrong during his ownership of the Sonics? Because you played on
I really wasn't there. I played on. I didn't really get to meet him and all that. I really didn't get to meet him and get to know him. But in that type of business, it's a business of just, if I make my money, I'm good. That's the type of business. If you're not a basketball junkie, if you're not living it, and I'm not sure if he's really into basketball. You know, I just think it was a business decision he made. You know, and then Starbucks, you know, it was great up there and great up there in that area, and things happened, you know. But I didn't really meet him, when he owned the team. So I really couldn't. I'm just telling you from what I saw. Maybe he wasn't a basketball lover, you know.
Well, Gary Payton said in the Sonicscape documentary, Kenny, Gary said Howard may understand the coffee business, but he didn't understand the basketball business. That's what Gary said.
Yeah, exactly. He might. Yep. He realize he know, because he was big, up in Seattle, and and I think him and Howard Schwartz didn't get along, so it was just a long, history right then and there,
Something with Howard Schultz, a lot of people thought he came in really enthusiastic, but he may have been a little naive about wanting to change the league and things like that. So maybe he just had some expectations that didn't quite, get there. But who knows? There's been a lot of accounts of Howard as an owner, and it's frustrating that looking back as a Sonics fan, it looks like there were some ways to keep the team in Seattle back in those days, but it didn't happen. Hopefully
I think they get a new team. They got everything else. It's a great, like I said, it's a great market, and I think the city will really step up and be a part of having NBA, there.
Well, Kenny, if we get a team back in Seattle, we'd love to see it again in the new arena. It'd be a lot of fun to have to see you with some of the fans and so forth.
Yeah, definitely.
Kenny, are you finding, Kenny, with your background as a prominent former NBA player, are you finding that helpful with recruiting at Fisk University?
Yeah, because right now I'm fighting a little bit because we don't have scholarships, so I gotta go to some of my my friends and things of that nature to get us some scholarship money, but it's a private school. And it's a very good school. Academically, it's one of the top in the country, but I'm trying to build a basketball program. But give me some time. I've been here 2 years, and I'm really excited where we're going. But I just need some help. Well, it sounds like you're on the right path. Kenny, we got a couple more minutes here, and let me ask you something. When the historians look back at Kenny Anderson 50 years from now, 20 years now, 100 years now, whatever, how do you want to be evaluated, Kenny? What do you want to be most remembered for? Yeah, all I can say is, hey, he gave me some exciting times when he came and played, but he was a good man. That's basically it. He played basketball, but he was a good man.
Well, Kenny, it's been a lot of fun to chat with you. Really appreciate you coming on Sports and Stuff on Rainier Avenue Radio, and that's you and I definitely stay in touch, Kenny. I appreciate doing this.
My man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Peace to you. All the best. Thank you, Kenny. You take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you.